Hey guys, welcome to this session by Intellipaat. An Android developer's role is very important in today's mobile computing world where 75% of the devices are powered by the Android OS, right? So when you think about it, what are the skills that are required and how can one become an Android developer? That is exactly what we're going to discuss on this particular video. Well guys, before we begin with this session, make sure to subscribe to the Intellipaat YouTube channel and hit that bell icon so that you will never miss any update from us. And on that note, let us quickly check out the agenda for today. We'll start out by taking a quick introduction to understanding what Android development is, after which we'll understand why we even require Android development. After knowing why we require Android development, we can check out all the roles and responsibilities of a proficient Android developer. After understanding the roles and responsibilities, it is very vital that you know the key skills that make an Android developer who he or she is. So with that, we're going to be checking out a lot of other things in this session as well. So make sure to stick around and check it out. So without further ado, let's begin the session.
So coming to the first point on the agenda for this Android developer video, let's start with a quick did you know? Well, here's a fun fact. Android was an operating system that was first meant for only digital cameras. Can you believe that? Thinking about the majority of mobile devices right now being driven by Android operating system, this is definitely a tough fact to believe, right? But it was true. It was meant only for digital cameras. And then as you can think about it, there are 3 billion active Android devices across the world right now, right? So when you think about the world population for a second, and then when you think about one operating system across half of the entire world's population, that's really something fascinating for sure. And an Android's developer role, as I'm sure you might already know it, is one among the top 10 careers to have in this decade and in the next one as well, because as you might have already seen, companies are pouring millions and millions into having their apps developed, and having these apps across Android and iOS are something that the world is looking after, and so there is definitely a requirement for proficient Android developers across the globe. Now, coming to the introduction to Android development. So what is Android development, right? When you think about it, it's pretty simple. Android developers are software developers who are building solutions via mobile applications, that adds ever-growing conveniences to our lives, right? So when you think about it, there is a mobile application for everything now. And to do that, to come to that point, Android developers are the heroes here because they have the capability to technically scale themselves up to the latest technologies, tools, techniques, libraries, whatever methodologies is required to bring about the most aesthetically pleasing applications and the most practical applications in today's lives, right? So when you can think about it, in fact, there's millions of apps on the Play Store right now in a variety of domains, right? When you think about health and welfare, there are many apps, and this is definitely the world is looking forward to as well. Gaming and entertainment, I really don't think I have to talk a lot about it, right? Because at the end of it, you've seen the popularity of mobile games, you've seen the ongoing popularity of multiple entertainment apps, be it Netflix, be it Amazon Prime, or whatever it is, right? And when you think about self-help and motivation, this has been an amazing thing because there is a majority of people who said that they've used multiple apps to help themselves and get motivated and of course fight depression as well. So this is something which is very important, and it is having a huge impact on the mental health of people as well, and that's really good. And then when you think about shopping and purchasing, of course, majority of the users, over 75% of the users, choose mobile applications to shop and buy all of their stuff online, and that speaks a lot. And then when you're thinking about reading and knowledge, we have things like Kindle, we have multiple other readers where we can increase our knowledge base rapidly across a mobile application as well. So when you think about convenience, right, it really doesn't get any better. Right now, think about Alexa, for example. She's a virtual assistant that's built by Amazon, but the convenience she brings about is amazing, right? You can have doors open in your house, you can have rooms prepared, you can have your entire let's say home theater set up. All you have to do is say, hey Alexa, prepare my home theater, and That's how the world of Android is adding convenience to our lives, right? So when you can think about the Android developers timeline, how they work, this is how it goes. See, everything starts with a problem, right? Any IT concepts that we have today is because there is a problem and we want to make use of the power of computing to help us solve it. So the first step an Android developer will know is that there exists a problem that he or she wants to solve. After knowing that there is a problem, they want to come to an assessment to see if it is feasible to work on a solution. And once they realize that, hey, I know what the problem is, I know what the user requirement is, and I can fix it, and I can give you a solution, or I can build you a mobile app for whatever it is that you're requiring, then they start working on a prototype. Here is where they'll model all of the data that's required. Here is where they'll start building out prototypes to get closer, to a production application. And then once the application is actually ready, and once they have verified everything, debugged it, they have understood what the problem is completely and fixed it, and now the next step is to actually launch it and put it out to the world. Because at the end of the day, if you're designing a mobile application, it's meant for people to be used, right? So sharing it, putting it across the Google Play Store or wherever it is a very important thing that's that governs the entire process of Android development, right from taking a problem at hand all the way to launching an application and providing support for it afterwards. This is a beautiful thing in Android development that I believe is adding a lot of impact to our lives as well. And Android developers are professional at doing this, and they can do it really well too. So what are some of the roles and responsibilities of an Android developer? Well, Android developers need to have the primary skill of actually building Android apps, right? As the name suggests, they need to be software engineers. They need to have the ability to build, test, and validate solutions across a variety of domains. You should have the capability to build an app, let's say for a hospital, and the next thing you know, you'll be building apps for, let's say, social media and more. So you need to have the ability to scale up. You need to learn new tools, new techniques, new libraries, right? So when you think about it, today's version of an app will be obsolete tomorrow. When you can think about any instance right now, right? So just pause the video, give yourself a 30-second timeout, and think about mobile applications that you used probably 3 years ago or 4 years ago versus now. There should be a huge change in the user experience, right? That is where all these new tools, techniques, and libraries are being used by these Android developers to make sure you have that good user experience at the end. And then, of course, when you're thinking about exploiting computing power, today's mobile phones are a million times faster than the entire computer system that was used to put man on the moon. So when you think about it in terms of computing power, we are edging towards the next level of quantum computing, even in mobile applications, and that's something the world is looking forward to as well. Today's phones are already very, very powerful, and there is almost nothing you really cannot do with a mobile phone as well. So considering all of that, an Android developer should have the capability to not only develop apps, but to make sure these apps are very effective and they're efficient on the battery life, on the memory, on the CPU, and all of that as well. And the last thing is that Android developers really need to have that kind of a drive, the passion to create applications, and they really need to know how to go on to work with data. Because if you're building an Android application, you will need data, right? It's going to be either on an offsite server, it's going to be in a cloud storage, it's going to be on the mobile itself, or wherever it is. So to make the best use out of data, the developer needs to have the capability to understand how data works and how he or she can make the best use of it for their application as well. So these are some of the very important roles and responsibilities of an Android developer. So now, moving on, you might be asking, okay, why should we consider Android development, or why is Android development important, right? Well, let me tell you this. As of January 2020, almost 75% of all the smartphones use the Android operating systems, right? So 75% of the entire smartphone chain in the entire world make use of the Android OS. That is how big Android is. So if you think about this, think about it for your career, think about the future of Android, and think about where Android is headed, you will see that the graph is on an exponential rise. The world wants better mobile applications, and this calls for proficient Android developers out there. And the second thing is that it's very easy to get you guys started onto it, right? So it'll take very less time to start learning on how you can build Android apps. It's going to take less effort from your side if you are trained to actually start building even the most complex apps out there. But then even the small amount of efforts that you put to will result in a very big impact, right? So it's small amount of code that you write, but then the impact it has on your application will be huge. That's the biggest advantage of learning Android development, right? See, there are languages such as Java, you can learn Kotlin, you can learn React. There are many other the scripting languages like Perl as well, that if you learn, that would be more than enough to get yourself started, to go right from building basic apps all the way to your intermediate apps. And if you're proficient in these technologies, then of course you can start building amazing apps and provide solutions to a variety of problems that exist right there. But then the takeaway from this point is that understand it's a very easy thing to get started if you have the interest to get started, of course. Now, the second most important thing I really have to talk about is that Android is open source. So thinking about licensing, thinking about working on it, thinking about being trained on it and using it with open source, it opens up the possibility to near infinite, right? So you can be in constant touch with developers across the globe, across multiple communities. You can start working on whatever application that you want to. You really shouldn't worry a lot about licensing. If you're keeping things legal at the end of the day, you can your domain, your expertise is all that counts to build a beautiful application. So having this open source technology that you can work on, it's almost like you being a bird with really big wings, right? So you can go as far as your wings take you, and that is something amazing. Coming to the next couple of discussions on why Android development is required. One thing is that you will have a big impact on the brand, right? So let's say you're an app developer for Facebook, you're an app developer for Google itself, or you're an app developer for any other big company out there. One is that you will have the bragging right that you have developed an application that millions and millions of people are going to use. The second thing is that your app is going to have a huge impact on the brand and the business itself in a way where it will power your self-satisfaction, and an Android developer's role is a role that's going to pay you really well if you're proficient as well. And then of course, when you think about the ability to scale yourself, you can go on from building basic apps all the way to the most complex, the most aesthetically pleasing apps that will provide the best user experience possible for the actual users who you plan to use as well. So in that particular case, you can rapidly learn, work your way and climb the steps on how you can go from a beginner to an expert Android developer. So for a career, what does it do? See, as I told you, it's one among the top 10 careers to have, and there is a huge requirement for Android developers right now, because there is hundreds of thousands of businesses across the globe, and every one of them want a mobile app no matter what, right? They either want a web application, they want a website, or they want a mobile application. And now that they've seen that 75% of the people have Android OS, there is a requirement for Android developers out there. So if you are skilled enough, if you're trained enough, and if you're proficient and expert in all of the concepts of development involved in the world of Android, you will have a job at hand. Do know that. And of course, since it's already a trending career, it means that you really do not have to fight to get that dream job at your dream company, or let's say to even get a big salary as well. So with this, it should add a lot of meaning to your life as an Android developer. So moving on to the next section, let us actually discuss what are the skills that are needed, for you guys to become an Android developer. Well, the first thing is that you're going to require some foundational knowledge to understand how mobile applications work, where are mobile applications used, why mobile applications are required, and understanding the trend about why people even prefer mobile applications is somewhere I suggest you guys start with. After all of these comes the stage where you will realize there exists a problem. See now, any mobile app that you can think of is trying to solve a problem, right? So let's think about the e-commerce field. for a second. Let's think about Amazon. Let's say you're away from your computer, but you really want to buy the favorite pair of shoes that you want. If you do not have an access to a computer, it means you cannot buy it. But let's say you have a mobile phone really handy, you have an internet connection, and that's all it takes for you to do a lot of things, right? In fact, you can buy properties right from your mobile. You can do whatever you think it's possible with the help of a mobile. So having the foundational knowledge and the know-how on how you can get from wherever you are. You might be from a marketing background, you might be an architect, you might be a chef. Having the interest towards Android development, right? Having the passion is very important, and of course, having a good introductory, structured way on how you can become experts is something that's going to help you in your career as well. The second skill that you'll of course need is programming languages, as we discussed, right? Be it Java, be it Kotlin, be it React, be it Perl, be it Python, whatever it is, you need to know a programming language. Is it possible to completely develop an app without programming language? The answer is no. But then there are applications and libraries being developed in a way where it gives you about 70 or 80% of drag and drop functionality, where you really do not have to write a lot of code. So even if you're a person who might not be a fan of writing code, understand that there are libraries out there that will help you a lot with drag and drop facilities, wherein you can get your job done without having to write code as well. But at the end of it, if you want to become an expert in Android development, then yes, having a programming language as an asset, in fact, is a requirement. And the next skill that you will need is superior data handling, right? See, the world generates 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every day. And it's not only in the world of mobile app development, but in general as well. The world needs to know how powerful data is, and the world already knows it now. So thinking on the lines of that, having so much data, you need to have the ability to filter it. You need to have the ability to clean your data, pre-process your data whenever you're using it for your application, because you might be using a lot of algorithms in your apps that require clean data to work with, right? So knowing how to work with data, knowing how to store them, knowing what data you need to store, what not to store, and at the end of the day, how best can you be efficient? Because when you're thinking about a mobile operating system, everything is limited, right? In terms of storage, in terms of battery life, in terms of processing power, whatever it is, there are limitations that you need to work across, and you need to be skilled enough to understand how data moves as well. And then coming to the next very important point, it's about the design principles. See, as I told you, Android development is very similar to the field of software engineering and software development as well. And with software engineering and development, what comes is very, very good use of design principles. There are certain structured aspects of how things are supposed to be done, and then there are ways of which are, they're put in place to help developers themselves go on to achieve their goals and targets without breaking their head about many things. There is many other design protocols and principles that really help an Android developer concentrate on the important things such as logic, driving user experience, feasibility of the app, making it more efficient rather than breaking their head about all the things that that could take up their time. So having the skill that's needed to learn new design principles, to follow them effectively, and it's not just you following them, it's to make sure that you and your entire team of developers work with them easily, is definitely something that's going to help you align to a production environment or align you to multiple brands across the globe as well. And then the next skill that's definitely needed is version controlling, right? So whenever you're working with an app, it's not just you roll out an app once and you forget it, right? There's many revisions, there are many versions, there are many times where you'll have a minor update, you'll have a major update to your application. So knowing a version controlling system such as Git or any other version controlling system out there is going to add a lot of value to your life as an Android developer, because at the end of the day, version controlling will help you span development across the team. It'll help you span your development across multiple branches, and it'll make sure things are going smoothly in terms of continuous integration, in terms of continuous delivery, and a lot more as well. So for that particular reason, having version controlling is a basic requirement. So it is a compulsory requirement for you guys to know as an Android developer. And the next thing is performance optimization. See, one very important thing is that with little experience, or let's say with a little bit of training, everyone can start designing Android applications on their own. It's easy. But at the end of the day, it's not just you designing an app, it's how effective your app is, how efficient it is, and how best can it perform when it's put against the competition, right? So, there are already thousands of developers across the globe, and how better can you make an app which is already existing, or how better can you provide a solution to a problem which no one has solved before? So this is one of the things that you really need to know. You need to understand how memory works. You need to understand that there is multiple steps of caching and memory. You need to know how best you can make use of the CPU, the battery of a mobile operating system, and a lot of other dependencies as well. So knowing that you will not only create an amazing app that provides very good user experience, but it's very good on the mobile hardware as well, is something that is definitely required. And then the next very important skill we have to talk about is cloud computing. See, in today's world, data is stored almost on the cloud, right? There's 2/3 of the companies, in the entire globe actually have their data stored in a cloud computing environment in one way or another. When it's this big, and then when you think about it, all the data mostly on your phone gets stored either locally or on a server somewhere else, right? So if you have an internet connectivity, it means your application is open to pick up and store data anywhere across the world, be it on a cloud computer sitting probably 10,000 miles from you. But at the end of the day, know that it is possible. And of course, if you already know that it's there, then know that you need to scale yourself to understand the latest and the best practices used by Android developers in a way where they pull and they push data to and from the cloud as well. So having the knowledge of data movement in the cloud, sometimes making use of the computation power of a cloud computing machine as well. See, because if you are sitting with a mobile in your hand, you might be limited to the processing power that you have. But if you can make use of your mobile to connect to a far superior computer, then and at the end of the day, you can leverage that computing power and bring it right to your phone. This is something very, very, very important, and having knowledge of cloud computing is definitely an asset, for an Android developer. So when you can think about the other skills, right, we can go on and on, but here are some of the important things that you really should know. One thing that you have to know as an Android developer is that you need to have the ability to collaborate with people. Android is an open source development platform, right? So collaboration, learning from each other's mistakes, and understanding how you can get 10 people's views on solving a problem is something which is very much required, if you're working on a project. But if you're working in a production environment, team working skills, ability to either build a team or work with the team is very, very important, because there is a good chance you will have 10 to 15 people building an application, or in fact thousands of people can build an app as well. So collaboration is very important. And then when you think about perseverance, right, see, initially whenever you're learning any concept, things are going to get tough, things are going to get ugly. But then once you go through those initial steps of learning, and once you start implementing, know that there is huge amounts of success for you as an Android developer in a career perspective, you solving problems across the globe, and you building beautiful looking apps, right? So wherever your kind of success lies, know that you can achieve it, but you just require that push to always keep going as well. And then of course, when you think about it, the thirst for knowledge is very, very important, right? You have to be open to learning new things. You have to be open to implementing new things, trying, be it trial or error or a structured approach that you take. Knowing and having that keen sense of interest to learn and implement new things is a huge requirement, in my opinion, for Android development, guys. So what do you think about all of these skills, right? Head to the comment section, and of course, do let us know if you think there are any more skills that are required. And then of course, moving on, now we can talk about the Android development job roles that exist, right? So here are the 4 main job roles of an Android developer. You begin as an Android developer, you can have career prospects as a mobile app developer, a mobile software engineer, a mobile solution architect as well. Depending on your level of expertise and depending on how much you want to invest your time and effort into building a career in Android development, you guys can go from associate Android developer all the way till being called a mobile solution architect, where you have the complete capability to devise a thorough solution for a problem in hand and take an app from its prototype into its production stage as well. So the number of job roles are compressed here because under each of these job roles are multiple subdomains where there are openings as well. There are thousands of job openings across the globe for Android developers, and I'm sure you guys know about it if you are at this video here as well. So what are some of the salary trends of Android developers across the globe? See, the salary numbers are very attractive and they're really nice because for an Android developer, the average salary in the USA is somewhere around $108,000 per annum, and in India it's 10 lakhs per annum, and in the UK it's 65,000 pounds. So when you're considering the salary trends as well, right, one very important thing that you really need to know is everyone across the globe is looking for proficient Android developers. So to get proficient, you'll either need a certification program or a way where you can learn things in a very structured way. But then after you do that, right, your job role and you as an applicant can have the capability to apply for the thousands and thousands of companies that are out there across the globe right now. Well, you really should know that companies will not resist to pay you any sort of money that you require if you can solve their problems, right? This is how the world works. So you can be sitting in India, but then you can be working on a US business building an app for them. And it's not just that, it's just the requirement for an Android developer is so huge that people are willing to pay any amount to have experts give them solutions as well. So knowing that, I am sure you guys are very excited to start your careers as Android developers. So here's my final thought. As I told you, it's a trending career. It's one of the top careers to have in this decade. And whenever there is a trend, the world has constantly shown that whoever has risen to the occasion, whoever has ridden the trend, so to speak, has had a huge impact on the world and in fact on their financial or whatever domain is as well, right? So when you think about it, it's a trending career, and I think it's high time for many of you guys to jump on it and get started, because if not now, then when, right? And then it's an ever-growing domain. See, this is something you really should know. Android has come to a stage where it is showing nothing but exponential growth. With this in mind, you have to know that your future will be secure as a developer, and that there is thousands of problems that's going to keep coming, and you will have the capability to keep solving it as well. So in terms of satisfaction, in terms of having a career, in terms of solving problems, in terms of having a huge impact to the world, you as an Android developer can do all of this.
We hope this session was very informative for you all. If you have any questions, any query, or any suggestions, make sure to head down to the comment section below and do let us know there. And on that note, I wish you well, and I'll see you all on the next one.